You guys. Okay. This is my first Q&A. Look at me go. Okay. So thank you for joining. I'm so happy you're here. If everyone's got their coffee, I have mine. Good morning. I posted this, but I think it's missing a letter. My barista is like probably needs a coffee himself. Um, this is our very first coffee hour for Feel, the group. And whether you're joining live or catching the replay, you're now a part of something new and exciting. Feel is all about plugging back into life, into our creativity, into our energy, our connection with ourselves and each other. So today is like really casual and obviously like I wasn't sure how many people are going to show up. So I've just there's some questions that have come through and I'm just going to go through them. They mostly just share a bit about, well, they will eventually, like, they'll reveal a bit about my journey and what led here, what led to this place, why feeling that this idea of feeling matters now more than ever. And just like, some simple ways that I want to start like lighting each other up. I think that there's at least here in New York City where I live, there is a bit of a need to reconnect again to ourselves and to each other. And, it's a very high achieving city. People are very much in their heads. I'm one of them. And I think I just want to make the most of the online community to come together and 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 share experiences about like having those moments of feeling of those vulnerable moments that make us feel like human and connected again. I just think there's not enough of them these days. And like, I just want to create more of that and create more permission to feel. So if you do end up joining, feel free to jump in and chat anytime or just like hang out and soak it in. You're exactly where you're meant to be. So let's dive in. And you can always like hit me up for a chat afterwards or some questions or whatever. I'm here to answer. So also this community is just starting out. So like I want to hear what you want to see from this community, like what's like what you want to get out of it as well. And that will help us build this community together and be an asset to you and to me. So yeah. Okay, so just a bit about like my personal story and like what inspired me to create Feel. A lot of ambition. I am an ambitious person. I'm ambitious in the sense that I have always had a dream. I think I've always been one to aim for something and go for it. And so I but I always sort of it's always come from like the heart, like kind of where I see myself, where a passion is, and like, I dive into it. So I've been fortunate enough to have parents who have supported that my entire life and always said, just like, yeah, follow your heart, and it served me well. But everything I love, like particularly in this stage of my life, is fueled by a desire to feel more alive, to feel more engaged, to feel more present, to have more of those like goosebump moments, And I think that that is like I chase that because like that's what leads me to, well, that's what helps me believe that that's where I'm meant to be. This is like it's such a it's a navigator for me. And so if I follow those feelings, I actually end up being like the happiest I've ever been, or the most successful I've ever been, or just the most aligned I've ever felt, or like, it just I feel more connected to myself. I feel more present, and I feel like I'm living like this human thing as best as I can. So um I'm thinking to myself, well, if I want to create more of that, like I'm sure there are other people that do, and why wouldn't they? Because it will just help. It will serve every individual that's trying to do this, and it will serve the collective as well. Um, another reason is that I think people are losing a lot of connection to themselves. You know, I experience that on, you know, I won't say a daily basis, but I certainly experience that a lot living in New York. You are like, you're not, you're always in this state of do, achieve, achieve, achieve. You know, it's a very expensive city to live in. So therefore, like, if you're not seeing, if you're not making money, it's like, well, how do you expect to live a good lifestyle here? And like, there's just a lot of uh there's a lot of ways that you can lose yourself in your mind because you're constantly chasing and comparing and like not not really giving yourself permission to live in the moment. But the reason I initially moved to New York City was because of the energy, was because I was like, this is the city I want to be in. It's thriving. Everyone's got this dream that they're attached to. And that's what I loved, is that I was pursuing my dream in a community of dream chasers. And that was fueling me. Like that was so like it just felt so good. Um, Over time, it's definitely not. I always think of New York City as that place um, where you can sort of be anyone. Like you know, you can create anything. You can be whoever you want to be. There's this level of like anonymity, but also familiarity and like camaraderie as well. It's because you can literally strike up a conversation with anyone at a coffee shop, and they're not going to be like, what are you doing talking to me? It's like, hey, I'm doing the thing that you're doing too. So, um, you know, some people have described New York as a bit of a soulless place, and I completely disagree. I think there is so much soul here. But I do think there is a bit of a hard shell that you naturally need to have coming into the city, that sometimes can become your permanent state if you're not careful. And what I'm trying to do is like bring that armor down a little bit so people can feel into what they're doing, and the, it's not a case of just like this, you know, let's hold hands and kumbaya and whatever. It's like tapping into the feeling state that will allow you to be more efficient and more guided in your path um than what you're doing right now. It's supposed to be sort of an enhancement, because if we're centered in our feeling state, uh in our heart state, if you want to call it, um you can actually like leap and bound quicker and more efficiently than if you were to just sort of stay up here. Okay, what was the turning point that made you realize you needed to plug back into life? Okay, so for me, there's like macro and micro forces in this. So firstly, my son for sure. Having my son's two and a half. Oh, he's going to be 3 in July. He, I think, having children, at least for me, forces you to be more present, um, and patient, and it makes you realize how much you're in a hurry to do things that aren't really meaningful. um, and like being immersed in his world is like shows me that that's sort of the thing that brings me back into my feelings state. Um, Hi, Nikki Sticks. Thanks for joining. Um, I'm just talking a bit about my journey, and feel free to jump in with any questions. Use the chat to jump in with any questions if you want.
Thank you.
Um, so yeah, the latest question was, what was the turning point that made me realize that I needed to plug back into life? So sorry, can I ask you to mute your uh, Zoom, Nikki Sticks?
Like you, whatever side you are.
just watch We Will Dance Again.
Nikki Sticks, can I ask you to mute your Zoom, please?
Yeah, that's the people in charge. We have an interesting.
Thank you. So yeah, what was the turning point that made me realize I needed to plug back into life? So yeah, firstly, my son for sure. I think having children forces you to be present, patient, like yeah, it makes you realize how much you're in a hurry to do things that aren't really meaningful. So in that, I sort of found myself kind of trying to bridge this like do, achieve like mind state from when I was working in advertising. And then trying to also be this very present, like heart-led feeling state person with my son. And it was just like, it was this constant like struggle. And I think in that, it became like a bit more of a job or a responsibility, something that I had to do. So I ended up sort of losing sight of my vision because I was caught up in like superficial things that ultimately weren't going to bring me joy. I think like also seeing like suffering, like individual and collective suffering. So like on an individual level, like there's so much anxiety, so much depression, like mental illness out there, people struggling and like putting on a mask. Like I could literally stop and talk to 5 people right now, and I guarantee you like 1, 2, 3 of them would be on meds or some taking some sort of medication, taking some sort of like substance or like, something to kind of get through their day to day. I think that suppression of emotion just leads to even like more suffering. I think like also the rise of AI and the perceived threat that people are feeling, like I think is causing a lot of anxiety. Like I don't want to sort of even, I'm not going to even touch the political climate. Obviously, that is like a big contributor to the anxiety. But like in terms of like AI, I can already see the impact it's having on so many different industries. I talk to people in advertising and accounting, like in even in wellness, like there's so many different ways that AI is going to impact us, and it's coming thick and fast, like where we cannot even like, I think even the urgency is starting to create a lot of panic. But from my perspective, I don't even think we've finished tapping into the fullest potential of what being human is all about, and we're already giving into this next species. So again, it comes from feeling. Like I know AI is going to have emotions. I don't know if they're going to actually have the capacity to feel like we do. And I'm and I actually think that's part of our superpower. So like this idea of like, I'm not definitely not against AI. It is like, I actually think it's one of the best things that's coming about. But I also think that like, let's go a bit harder, like let's double down on this human thing and see what it's all about. And that's part of this vision as well. So how did your background in advertising prepare you or not prepare you for this work? So it's interesting, like I had a really diverse path in advertising. I went from sort of a sales corporate, like it was always this bridge between like sales and creative, but I always enjoyed the creative side more. But selling, I just felt was like part of the job. I don't think I was particularly excellent at any of those pieces, but what I did love, I loved just working with people and solving people's problems like through a creative way. And it was generally through those moments of like the times where I made the best work and did my best stuff was when I was truly in this flow state, in in this like, okay, let me be a consumer for this brand. Let me like be the brand myself. Let me try and visualize what this would look like. What's the vision for this? Like who do we want to attract? What's the what's the feeling that we want to emit? Like how do we want to attract people into the 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 service, the product, like whatever it was. So I think the storytelling aspect and that just again that ability to tap into the feeling that will then net you the result that you want, this is what like helped me prepare for this, because I think that I know good work, good output, success comes from following that feeling, following that everyone knows that feeling that I'm talking about. It's the joy, it's the flow, it's this is where I want to be. This is like where it's so aligned, where you don't feel like you need to chase anything. There's nothing outside of you that can make this any better. It's just like it's all here. So that ability to create from that state. Resilience, definitely. It taught me resilience, like in business building. I led an agency through COVID, and that was like what I thought was going to be like. Actually, you know what? I've got to say, at the time, I didn't think it was that bad. I was one of those people that thought COVID was going to be over in 2 weeks. I was like, oh, just give it 2 weeks, just give it 2 weeks. And so when it went on for like 2 years, I was like, I actually, like we succeeded. We made it out of that season. A lot of agencies closed down over that period, and we got through the other end, and we actually ended up like making more money like the following year. Over that time, we became one of the fastest growing companies in 2020, and like that was insane for companies that were like sadly like closing down and having to shut up shop. We were actually doing really well. And I do believe it was because a lot of the legwork that we put in, the groundwork we put in, like leading up to that time, we had a lot of good relationships in the industry. We had, and we also did a lot of free work. It was just like, let's be partners throughout this, because when people were sort of closing their doors and like, okay, we're not going to make money, so we're laying off our staff, we were like, we're still employed, like we're still paying our staff. Give us your work and let us see what we can do. And we ended up building so many relationships out of that even those people that got furloughed from their companies or like left their companies, laid off or whatever, ended up going to other companies and pulling in business for us through other channels. And like that was just like more than what we could ask for. So definitely like resilience in the business building aspect. Also diverse relationships, like having relationships with people who were from different backgrounds. We didn't just work with marketers, we worked with people in operations, in finance, in development, web development. So like those that opened at least me up to like different challenges that different people have, and and also differences, but also the commonalities, and like the way that all people hate wasteful meetings, all of that sort of, you start to see the threads that tie us all together, and like why we sort of, how we're connected, and again how it feeds into this work. Stamina, I think, definitely taught me stamina, and whether that's like a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not sure, but like there's a lot of pushing in advertising. Like, I've got to say, we weren't one of those agencies that pull the all-nighters or anything like that. Even when we had pitches, they'd be late nights, but they weren't like, we weren't killers like that. I think we had a lot of fun doing it. It was a passion for everybody. And yeah, the stamina to keep thinking of solutions, keep being creative, keep thinking of this, like solving problems, like, okay, we haven't hit the mark on this, let's go back to the drawing board, let's do this. So it made me very solution oriented, and yeah, for that, like I'm like, yeah, truly grateful. Like I think there's like a lot of skills and a lot of uh, I keep saying resilience, but it was this idea of resilience and like, if it was, I never really looked too far ahead. It was always sort of but let's get through the next day. And it just kept me present as well. Yeah, it really did. And the value of being heart-led. I think that's the thing, like, they definitely, believe it or not, like advertising wasn't just some corporate job that I had. It was actually like I was very heart-led in that role. It just, my heart changed when I had my son, and so the value, but I still saw the value of being heart-led. I saw the value in my energy, in my ability to create my output, and in my bottom line as well, in my finances. Yeah, as I said, like, I think if you love what you do and you love the process, you are bound to be successful in it. Yeah. Okay, what does feeling fully alive mean to me personally right now? Hold on a second. I'm just going to, okay. Just checking the time. I think we will go over 30 minutes. So I can break this up, or you can hang in there if you like. You can also pause it. Okay, what does feeling fully alive mean to me personally right now? I think being fully alive means if I can be present with my son, that is a good measure of that. It's just like, can I feel like if I'm in the moment with him and not feeling like, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to do this. Like, if I'm not counting that, like, if I'm not like somewhere else when I'm with my son, I think that means like that's that fully aliveness that I am. I guess it's sort of a barometer, I feel like. But also feeling fully alive is experiencing everything that I can and I want in life. Like, I truly believe that, I really do, that anything and everything is accessible and doable. And it's just like, how hard am I willing to work, and how much am I willing to put myself out there? I do struggle with that. Like, I think a lot of people do, but I think I've reached a point now where I sort of like, I it's like it it's like I'm yeah, I've got to be willing to do it. Like, I guess that's kind of what you know, it's exactly that. How hard am I willing to work, and how much am I willing to put myself out there? And that will reap the return. At the end of the day, no one can engage with you, or like, you're only as known as much as like people are aware of you. So yeah. And I also lean into the fact that people have choice. People have choice to be part of this and not to. They can scroll past, they can unfollow, all of that. So I leave the choice to you. And also, feeling fully alive means experiencing everything that life has to offer. So as much as like I want this, I've been talking about following your joy, following what makes you happy, those goosebump moments, like that feeling of creativity, and like tapping into that genius and those happy moments. Like, great, yes, that is all that. But feel is about experiencing everything, the high highs and the low lows, and feeling it all without shame, and also building resilience through it all. It's like, we don't want to, like, I'm sure we've all had like traumas and things that we are like connected to, but we don't want to wallow in that for the rest of our lives. And it's not to say that that piece cannot be acknowledged, but this isn't like I don't want to buy into that. I don't want to sort of I want to be there for a person who's grieving, but I don't want to fall into that victim support group, like victim mentality support group, like where we're just sort of fueling and um and compounding like the the feelings that are going to keep us stuck. You know, it's using feeling to move forward. Okay, so a bit about like why this community matters. So why do I think people are craving more feeling, energy, and connection right now? So many reasons. I think like there is a dispersing of communities and families. So I mean, it take me for example. I relocated from Australia to New York City 9 and a half, 9 years ago. So back then I was chasing a dream, and now I've had a child, and I'm like, oh wow, like I could really do with some family around right now. And also just like knowing that I want my son to be part of my parents' lives, and they're not around. So like, I think there is a lot of that happening where like we are able to travel as young people. That kind of opens our mind up. It also opens new paths, new opportunities, new friendship groups, new relationships, um, new perspectives, and like things that we can do and achieve, and like this kind of global mobility, which is great. But then there are maybe there's those times where you just need community around, like you are sick, or like you lose your job, or like something. Not always things happen, but even great things can happen. You can have a child, you can get married, you can start a family, and you want that community around. There then you like have to find that community wherever you are, right? That in that physical space, in that physical location. I think the other reason why I think people are craving more feeling and energy and connection right now is that there is so much tech. Like we're just connected to it. You're connected to it right now watching this. Our phones, like all the inputs on like emails and chats and like everything that's coming in, that leads to like more consumption. So when you're like consuming, then you constantly like that can then lead to like seeking external things for fulfillment and validation. And then so the more you're seeking that external, that then leads to a greater disconnection from like ourselves and each other as well. And so a natural evolution to being so self-focused is that we can deprive others of care and love and relationship and joy. And if you think of like some of the best moments you've had in life have probably been shared, with other people, and like, or where you felt like so much fulfillment, and like, I know that like, that feeling is, with my son every day, like that they're the highlight of my days, and that doesn't need anything. Like it's him and I, that's it. I think, and as I was saying earlier, I didn't want to spend too much time with it, but obviously the political climate, division, the threat of war, financial insecurity, this, this common feeling of like a little bit like the world's going to shit, like that sort of feeling is sort of an undertone of that. It can like, I think that is sort of like a very big reason as to why we need this. There can be, I think there can be like connection in that fear as well. But I also think I think connection in fear is short-lived than connection in things that actually bring us closer to joy, closer to happiness. Next question is, in a world moving faster and more digital, why is feeling our ultimate advantage? Feeling is our ultimate advantage because we get to truly create the life that we want. I'm conscious to not make this sound like a lofty vision. I want this to be very tangible. But our soul is literally our feeling center and what guides you exactly where you need to be. So if we can tap into that more with a bit more curiosity, a bit more intuition, and a bit more precision, I think that you'll get to experience life on a level that like AI will never be able to. Like, as I said, I actually think the advent of AI is amazing, and it's going to serve us in ways that we can't even fathom right now. But for me, AI is bringing out more creativity and drive in me than I've ever had. And it's actually giving me capacity to feel more into my humanness because the thinking and doing is taken care of by something else. And like the way that I want to use AI is to actually propel me further than I ever thought I could be, especially as a mum and someone that has like, you know, relatively lower energy than like a lot of other people. Like I tend to be a bit more of an introvert and like, you know, I don't have this capacity to produce and produce and produce and produce all day without like losing my mind. But I think that, yeah, I actually think that like if AI can give me the capacity to feel so I can like do things like a lot more efficiently. That's my goal anyway, my personal goal. So what's missing from most self-help spaces that I hope feel brings back? Okay, so I think what's happening in the self-help space at the moment is that like as much as I love doing the work, like I loved diving deep and like thinking through things and meanings and like going on a bit of a like a treasure hunt to see what I can find. To understand myself more. I love doing that, but I often miss the joy. And I've become like since doing a lot more work, I think I've become a lot more like, you know, just like, hey, this is now kind of funny, right? There's things that the patterns that I can't seem to break out of, and they become like a joke, or like a running joke, or like I want to be in that place a little bit more, not to be self-deprecating or to make myself or to bypass anything that I should be like confronting or dealing with. But there is an ultimate uh there's just like a little bit of there's a piece of me that wants to like reconnect with joy on a daily basis, and that's where it's coming from. It's just like I don't want to be in this space of like constantly grieving or um uh grieving like a life that I thought I should be living or I should have, versus like just feeling happy with who I am and knowing that everyone's got these problems. Like everyone's got their set of like issues and problems, whatever you perceive that. But there was actually something that actually I won't get into it. I don't want to like divert from this, but basically like I want to bring more joy back to the self-help space. I want like people to feel into those happy moments and like be led by those as much as like the reliving of trauma and stuff like that. Yes, that's absolutely it's important to understand yourself, but like let's get a bit more energy, a little bit more electricity going. Like let's use that to propel us forward as well. Um, Yeah, and I think it was also inspired by the fact that I live in the most like energetic electric city in the world. Like there's so much at my fingertips that excites me. And it's a constant feed of like joy, energy, ideas, connection. And sometimes like I feel that gets missed in self-help circles. Um, I love practices that get me back into my body, like breath work, yoga, exercise, and all that. But I again just couple that with something like, you know, like dance and like sunshine and performing and music and like being around kids and animals and like just feeling into thoughts and emotions that are expansive so you can create from that. So like if I want to just feel into my body again, if I want to like just like I want to feel into like a really good state again, what's going to make me happy? A Broadway show is going to make me happy. Like this is just me. Maybe uh you know, going for a walk along the Hudson River, maybe that's going to make like maybe listening to a playlist, like a killer playlist, is going to make me happy. Like that's just like, but and they're all unique experiences to me. But like that, I want people to create their own sort of version of that here, and like let the community support that fuel for you. So like if there's something that's going to make you happy or anyone happy. Like, let's put it out there and just like, hey, this could be great for someone and put you in a good mood. If it makes you happy, it's probably going to make someone else happy as well. It's also just like integrating within your actual life. That's the other thing. I don't necessarily want to take away and add things that are going to be in addition to people's lives. Like, particularly who I'm targeting this for is like, you know, creatives, entrepreneurs, parents, people that like they're doing their thing already and they're probably a little time poor already. So how do they integrate these feelings and things like these states of being within their own life, like to just propel it and fuel it be rather than be like a chore to do. So yeah, so you can so yeah, the other thing is like you can create these feeling states from just like people who are like being around people who are funny and smart and awesome and being in a job that you actually like and like having hobbies that light you up, laughing at yourself, laughing at the world, like that sort of thing. Um uh Okay, and that leads me on to sort of some like practices and stuff like that. We're going to be like doing like I'll be putting out more practices and courses and things like that, like all that sort of stuff. But um like you know, there's so much you can do. I think that there's the other thing is firstly, like I do want to make this practical. Secondly, I don't, it's not about digging our head in the sand, like and going, oh, the world's great. And like, no, it's just like finding your joy, finding your joy more than you're finding the things that are wrong with the world, tapping into it from a feeling state, like let's really get those like, you know, goosebumps going, like, you know, if people would tell you a story and like you get goosebumps, like that's a signal. That's a signal that there's something in that for you. There's something like there's something in that for you. There's something that you should be that you should be following. So it's taking notice of those things. We'll go into practices later. I don't want to get diverted, but like small practices that you can do. Listen, I'm just like off the top of my head, like there's if you haven't seen it already, I can link it, or I'm actually going to film it and probably put it up here. But like Donna Eden's daily energy routine, something that needs like consistency and like constantly like practice, but like amazing. It takes like 15 minutes in the morning and is just like gets you it actually helps you feel energized, focused, more cognitive like ability, like just sets your day off right. The more you do it over time, like you'll start to feel $1,000,000. Wim Hof breath work. I actually did this like years ago when I was like I wanted to like strengthen my singing voice. He does like incredible breath work, like they're so powerful. They make you feel a little lightheaded. Also really great first thing in the morning, or you can do it before you go to bed at night. Um, really simple. If you don't have time for any of that stuff, just build a killer playlist for yourself, like songs that you love that get you going. Like I've done this so many times over the course of my life, and like without a doubt, they just fire me up. If I'm like at work and just got to like plug in, I can do that. I can like listen to it on my way to work, listen to it before, just to help you feel your best. You can do it for different like moods and different days and different like things that you want to activate. But like killer playlist goes a long way. I'll put some of mine like on this page, but like again, this stuff is so unique to everyone. So like put the things on this page that you want to hear for yourself, because that will actually probably inspire or be exactly what someone else wants or someone else needs to hear, be the perfect taste for someone else. Go to the gym. Sounds simple. Just go to the gym, work out, like lift weights, run, whatever, go for a walk. Also, if you're a parent, I don't know if like I feel like the world knows about her, but maybe they don't. Melissa Wood Health workouts, like subscriptions, like 130 a year. I think you can even pay for a free 7-day trial. These workouts are as like little as 8 to 10 minutes, literally, and you feel a burn. And they just like she opens and ends with it like a bit of a meditative practice, like super short. but just like helps you feel centered. Especially it's incredibly great for parents. Highly recommend. So they're just short, some short practices, but like we'll go into like some deeper practices. Again, I'm not trying to take away time from your life. In fact, I want to give you like simple tools and like just inspo to just keep connecting back to that feeling. How do you personally stay creatively plugged in even on tough days? Okay, so this is so much easier said than done, but first thing is if you feel overwhelmed, stop. It's so hard to do. To stop and breathe is like so hard to do when you have a million things on your plate, when you've got like a toddler on your leg, or if you've got like a deadline to reach, like you're not stopping, like no one's stopping. And that is actually the thing that you're supposed to do. I can say if you can get a minute to yourself, go into the bathroom and just get a minute to yourself to stop and breathe and focus on the feeling. And like, where is it in my body? Where is it like, where does it live? Identify where it lives and sit with it. If it's in your head, if it's in your neck, if it's in your throat, if it's in your heart, if it's in your stomach, if it's in your like upper stomach, lower stomach, is it in your hip? Is it in your like your back? Like, where is it living? Hands, like anything. Sit with it and draw your attention to it. This is going to be really tricky if you've never done this before. As in, if you have a very scattered mind and find it very hard to focus, I'm not going to lie, it's going to be hard, and it's going to take practice. But the more you do it, or the more you understand how to access it, the quicker you'll get at it, and the quicker your recovery will be. So scan your body, identify where it lives, sit with it, draw your attention to it, feel it, visualize it. So when you start to get that visual in your mind, give it a color, give that feeling a color, give it a texture, give it a name. So if it's like, I don't know, I'm not going to say anything to put things in your mind, but just visualize it, give it a color, give it a texture, give it a name, give it a temperature. Get familiar with it, give it like, make it an entity, make it something that you can start to like shape or mold or talk to, just talk to, even if it's just like not going to budge, just like have a conversation with it. Then ask it, what are you trying to say? Most of the time, we just need to acknowledge it, the anxiety, the hurt, the overwhelm, the feeling, and whatever it is, it will dissipate, or it may respond back to you. Like we just need to sit with it. You just need to give it some space, give it some acknowledgement. Too often we are just kind of pushing through and not giving these, not giving that feeling the space that it needs to exist and to just be felt, which is actually doing us more of a disservice. If you have more time to sit with it, listen to music, like something that gives you that feeling. If it's rage, if it's anger, listen to something that makes you angry. If it's like, if you really want to cry, put a sad song on, but like to be the catalyst for the tears. Sometimes we need a little bit of a push. We need something to get us in that zone to be able to release. If you want to dance, if you need to move your body, get a song that's going to help you release the feeling from your body. So if it's like, a pain, I just need to like exercise this out. I need to get it moving. I don't want to feel stuck anymore. If it's like a really heavy feeling, whatever it is, there's a way out. There's a way, I don't want to say out, there's a way through it. There's a way through it. And it's the in the through that will actually lead you to, I can't say how or when, will actually lead you to the clarity, the next step, the forward motion that you need. And so that is essence of this group, is like feeling through these feelings. I know that kind of went a bit off track with how I say personally creatively plugged in, but if you want to stay creatively plugged in, follow those feelings, acknowledge them, don't bypass them, don't override them, don't try and suppress them. It's going to get you further away. So what role does the body play in feeling more alive? It's everything. It's the bridge between like our quantum selves and our earth selves. What that means is like our higher selves, like the people that we want to aspire to be. That's when I say quantum, it's just like with quantum self, like that's what I'm talking about. The people that we like, that our fullest potential. Like if I was Olivia without any expectations, any uh any reservations, any sort of guilt, shame, or any of those sort of limiting beliefs, that's my highest potential self, and our earth self. So I actually think our body, we are given this body to facilitate our heaven on earth, if you like. So if you can learn to follow the subtle cues of your body, you'll get everything you want out of life and so much more. What's one small moment? Next question. What's one small moment you had recently that made you feel truly alive? Actually, it was concepting this. It was concepting this feeling, this feel group, community group. I was actually at an indoor playground with my son in Brooklyn, and I was looking around at this like amazing concept that was developed by an artist called CJ Hendry. She is an Aussie artist who just like had an incredible like vision to use her art as a way to create a space for kids and adults. And it was nothing like the world had ever seen. And like, it is truly unbelievable. Like, she's so creative. And I thought, wow, like this woman had a vision and I'm now living in it. Like and my son is thinking like, this is the coolest thing on earth, which it is. Like, it's really cool. I also looked around and like saw how many like kids and adults were actually loving the activities like that were around. Like there was like a magnetite, like this a magnetile pit. You've seen magnetiles, but like a magnetile pit, like of all yellow magnetiles. It just looked like a big like mini like construction site for kids. And like I swear like all the adults were like enjoying this pit more than the kids. There was like a big like a bead pit, like a pit of beads, which like as a kid, I loved making like necklaces and like bracelets with beads. Like that was have just been like my utopia when I was a kid. So like I went there and I made this necklace, and I haven't got it with me, but I made this necklace and I was just like so chuffed, and like Nicholas was loving it, my son. And I was just like, this is like the ultimate, like it is the ultimate children and adult playground. And like she just did such a great job of it. And like living in her vision just reminded me of like how many people could be enjoying my vision and I don't even know it. So I just wanted to try this. And like I'm like, you know what, I love doing this stuff. I love like feeling some feelings and chasing the joy. And like, you know, I'm assuming some people out there want to do that with me. So let's just try. And yeah, and then that like that from that just came like so many ideas. And that's why I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna like just do it, follow the feeling, right? Okay, so my vision for feel. Oh, okay, so we're coming towards the end now. Okay, 10 more minutes. I'm sorry, this has gone for way longer than 30 minutes, but I wanted to give it to you all. So like my vision for feel, I want like honestly, like I see events, I see like you know, I don't know, like I want to say a movement, like a global movement, but I think I just want like events that people literally love coming to, and like high energy events that get people together that are just like, and they just like, they come buzzing, they leave buzzing because they just know what they're going to get out of it. Like it's just full of music, dance, like energy sessions, inspiring talks, like all of that sort of stuff. I don't know. I would love that to happen. I think that we just need more in-person contact more than ever. And if it just starts online and just builds to a like a community of like people that just want to get together in cities, like I'm all for it. Um, so a perfect date, what would a perfect date inside this community look like? Honestly, don't know yet, but like this coffee chat's good. Kick off your day like on the way to work and on a positive note. We can have a bit of a pep talk, like pep talk each other. I would love to do like energy sessions, like around lunchtime, just virtual energy sessions to get like aligned, feel into your body. So everyone's kind of like doing that on a regular basis and like learning how to like feel into their body, getting to know the cues of their body. It's a practice, right? So like the more I can facilitate that, the better. Like I don't know, if we want to do like a WhatsApp group with like cheeky texts, funny memes, things like that. Awesome. I would love to do giveaways here, like gift cards, vouchers to like epic experiences, like dance classes, even dinners, check out the new restaurants, like awesome. Just like do things that like light you up, right? Like connect with friends that are on your wavelength that you can be accountable to. And like that's the thing. Like I just want to be with like connected to people who see the value in like this as much as I do. I I don't like I choose friends now who are connected to the who who are connected to their true essence. They're not exactly like me. In fact, I don't want them to be exactly like me, but they are connected to who they are so they can live a life more aligned. The guests and people that we're going to get on, like that I want to be doing interviews with and talking to, are the people that are just most centered and most aligned. And like you can see it. You can see it in their lives, how they're living. They're not necessarily the most spiritual. They're not like meditating every day, but they are just doing enough to follow the cues in their body and know their body and their mind so well that they can just like, hey, like my mind is serving my body right now. If this doesn't feel good, it's not for me. Um, yeah. So that's I don't know. Look, it's probably more than a day's worth, but like ultimately that's kind of what the short term vision looks like. I'd love it to get like, as big as it can be. How can people here help shape the space in early days? How can you help shape the space? Give me a sense of what you want to feel more of, and we can, I'll format around that. Like, are you getting time to feel, or is life going so fast that you don't have time? We can work with that. What are you afraid to feel? Are you afraid to feel like bad emotions? And there's nothing bad, but like obviously grief, if that's grief, if suffering, like whatever. Hate to tell you, but you kind of got to feel it. um, to feel everything, to feel the full spectrum, to get to the joy. Tell me what brings you joy. Share it with the community. If there's a song that you can't help but jam to, or if there's a story that like about your child that you want to share, they did something cool this morning, like say it. If you're thriving off like nailing a pitch, if you're closing a deal, like yeah, tell us about it. Let's cheer you on. We're here to be your cheerleaders, and it's not again not about the fake optimism or positivity. It's literally about feeling a way to success through your joy. I'm personally going to be sharing like a lot of things that I love, like epic creativity, like funny jokes, like things that really like light me up, like energy work, like dance classes, Broadway shows, like maybe Disney tunes. I don't know. I like Disney. People who are just so in their genius that show us what a life aligned looks like. So yeah, that's like I like if you've got some ideas or conversation starters, questions, like ways to feed into that, please do. I'm all for it. Um, I think that brings us to the end. Thank you so much. Like that was that was a big hour. I actually trimmed it down to 30 minutes because I thought like with no one there, I don't know who's gonna like ask questions and whatever. But I wanted to give you a full view of what this community was about. I hope it all makes sense. Like I am leaving a lot like up to like you know, a bit to sort of shape shifting and like seeing where it all evolves to. But the heart of it is like, you know, I think life doesn't have to be capped. I think there is so much more to experience, and it is through our feeling. And yeah, I just like I want to be like as connected to people who feel, to bring out the most human feeling person that I can be. And yeah, and like, and just on that, like, you don't have to be the most like healed person to be part of this group. That's not what this is about. It's just about like using things other than like our minds to create like the life that we want. That's it. Like, it's just, it's actually going back to this, like, if anything, it's just about like being more childlike, being more pure in our like approach to life, and like seeing how far that can get us. Yeah. Um, wish you all a wonderful day. Thank you so much for, if you tuned in. If you didn't, that's cool too. I hope to catch up with you at some point along the way, and we'll be back here with more Q&A, energy sessions, other stuff. I can't wait to, yeah, reconnect with you all. Thank you.